Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. Follow us on Twitter at Boink Studios and check out our Facebook page where you can see all of our projects, past, present, and future. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and you are listening to Tom Clark's Main Event. This is episode number 44 of the podcast, and if you are joining us today for the very first time, we will bid you welcome. If you're coming back for a repeat visit, we say, hey, thanks for checking back in with us. And to all those involved, we extend to you, as always, the customary laurel and a hearty handshake. Thanks for your support. Thanks for reading. Thanks for listening. And hey, thanks for always being there, Doc. Now that the customary blazing saddles and tombstone references are out of the way, how are you? Welcome to the show. I'm Tom. This is my thing. This is what I do. This is episode number 44, as we said before. How's it going? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everyone out there is doing well in WWE Pro Wrestling land. A lot of interesting things happening in the business here lately. We just recently put episode number 43 up. Hope you had a chance to listen to that sucker. It went well past the hour, the allotted hour time limit that I usually just give myself. An hour's not really stamped, in concrete anywhere. It's just something I like to stick to. For those of you who know about our sister podcast, it's Tom and Kyle's Comedy Action Hour. Very rarely have we ever stuck to just an hour. It should be amended to the Tom and Kyle's Comedy Action Hour or so. Maybe that'll be a sequel to the podcast at some point. Again, folks, a lot of stuff happening in the business here lately. A lot of things happening in WWE. Other companies around it. As you know, here on the Main Event, we focus primarily on WWE. It doesn't mean we don't talk about anybody else, of course. And we've got some things to talk about, and we might as well just go ahead and get started, right? This time, the main event is WWE Fastlane and a bunch of other stuff. I love the word stuff. I don't know why. I use it a lot. I can't even tell you why I use it. But I've used it on the podcast a crazy number of times. And honestly, it may be just a cop-out because I can't think of what the title of the show's. Isn't that sad? Honestly, I didn't have anything better. Quit complaining. What are you complaining about? Look at that gorgeous mug you see before you and this majestic southern twang of a voice that I have going on. I try to hide this southern stuff. It kind of annoys me a little bit. To all of you who are not from the South, who are making fun of us and stuff, well, go ahead. Because there's a lot of crap here. I'm not going to lie to you. Not to be hating on my Southern brothers and sisters. Don't misunderstand me. Speaking of Southern, I'm going to touch on this real quick. I've been a lot lately, really been watching back on the old days. More specifically, Jim Crockett Promotions. As you know, here in the Carolinas, we're in the heart of Crockett country. This is still Crockett country, by the way. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Flair still owns the Carolinas till the day he's dead and beyond. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. But here lately, I've been watching a lot of old World Championship Wrestling on WWE Network, which, the network just did put all that stuff on. Thank God, finally, right? Took a really long time for it to happen. So yours truly has been pretty happy because for anyone that knows me, they can tell you straight away that I am extremely old school in my mindset and my approach to how I think about the business, how I write about the business. It's sort of who I am. I am Rick versus Dusty. I'm the Horseman. I'm Wahoo McDaniel. I'm Manny Fernandez and Rick Rude. I'm the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express. I'm Ivan and Nikita Koloff. Hector Guerrero. I'm all the guys from the classic Jim Crockett Promotions, man. That's my jam, as the kids say, and it still is, man. I just get all caught up in it. I could spend days on end, and it's not so much nostalgia. It's just sitting back watching those old matches, those old storylines play themselves out. and how the crowd reacted. And I don't know. As I said, I've been watching a lot of that stuff lately, and it's really been getting in my head quite a bit about storytelling. That's another podcast for another time, but storytelling and how it worked and how it applied during the territory days and how it works now in the modern era. And it's a tough one, man, because for anyone that's old school, today's stuff doesn't measure up at all. I mean, straight up, it just doesn't measure up. I'm not so old school that I can't appreciate what's being done now. I've never been one of those guys. I'm not oldie, okay? I'm just not. I never have been. I love the old school stuff, I do, but I'm not like, oh, everything today is complete crap. That's not what he calls it. If you've seen an interview, you know what he calls it, but I don't call it that. I appreciate what I see, and I appreciate the way the business is now, and I can still enjoy the show and pick out the good matches from the matches I don't really care for. And I see the effort being put forth by a lot of guys in WWE and other companies to really tell the story. I think a lot of times they're prohibited from telling the kind of story they want because of time constraints in the ring and because of, X, Y, and Z. And I get that it's all business and how it's run and everything. But I still see the effort being made, and I love that. A lot of people out there, and I've said this before on the show, man, that the Attitude Era has been is heavily hyped as the greatest era in the history of pro wrestling. I just don't buy that. It was a fun time, but at the same time, the best era of the business, in my humble opinion, is the territory days. The NWA, World Class Championship Wrestling, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, Florida Championship Wrestling from Florida. Excuse me. Some AWA thrown in, and several other little smaller territories that were happening at the time, but primarily Jim Crockett Promotions. Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling is just where it's at. And you know what? Anytime I have time on my hands, and it's not often, but if I've got free time and I'm not writing or I'm not podcasting or doing whatever else I find myself doing on any given day, I just sit back and I watch old World Championship Wrestling, and I pop in a Ric Flair DVD or the Dusty Rhodes DVD, or for that matter, even Shawn Michaels DVD, because he came up during the territory days, and that's just fun stuff for me, man. The Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, and for any of you out there who are not old enough to have lived through the days of the territories, I would highly encourage you, the next time you're on the network, scroll down to the Vault section and check out some World Championship Wrestling. Because I guarantee you this, everybody sitting in WWE's locker room right now today has mad respect for those guys. Some guys that you have probably never heard of. Gene Ligon, as we said, Wahoo McDaniel, Crusher Khrushchev, you know that name? Go back and look. He'll look familiar, trust me. Go back and watch it. Ron Garvin, Hands of Stone, Ron Garvin. Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, thank you very much, with Precious. I just encourage you to watch it. It's just... the storytelling aspect of it, to me, is the best that's ever been, and I would hope that we would return to a day when the storytelling is paramount to a great pro wrestling presentation, and it should be now, but sometimes it just feels like we got to go to the hard break. We got to get back and sell a T-shirt. We got to endorse our sponsor. We got to, make sure this guy cuts this promo at this time, and I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just sour on it at times. I don't know what it is about me, but like I said, if you want to fill your day and have a blast doing it, go watch some World Championship Wrestling. You'll be glad you did. I'm not talking about WCW. Let's get that straight right now, man. I'm not talking about the Ted Turner owned WCW. I'm talking about World Championship Wrestling, the NWA, Jim Crockett Promotions. That's what you need to go watch. If you don't have the network, look it up on YouTube. There's a ton of it there, man. Go check it out. You have to. Trust me. I was just listening to some ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, for all you music fans out there. The Rock and Roll Express used Rock and Roll is King. To this day, I can't hear that song without thinking about Ricky and Robert. I got a chance to work with Ricky and Robert when I got in the business. Some of the most fun I've ever had in my entire life was when I was in the business. I just had a blast. I miss those days. So, I know what you're saying. Tom, how are you going to segue from that to Fastlane? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because storytelling is the most important part. And as we said before with the old NWA, Jim Crockett Promotions, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, storytelling was what people bought tickets to see the stars they love, as they do today. But what got them to the arenas was the story these guys were going to tell in the ring, the feuds, the rivalries. We've got a feud that is going to be revisited. That's a year-old feud, actually, that hasn't been touched on in a while. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. And this time at Fastlane, they're going to be involved yet another Shield guy. This time it's not Seth, of course, it's Dean Ambrose. The winner of this match gets a shot at Triple H in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 32. This is one of those matches that I don't... This is a tough one, man, because I'll be honest with you. It feels to me like this match was booked. Because Dean needed a high-profile spot and because they didn't want Roman to get totally booed out of the building. Now, he's going to, but I think that they're hoping that Dean's going to offset some of that. Because no matter what WWE has done for this kid, it has not worked. And there's a number of reasons why it's not worked. We touched on some of it in episode number 43, and I've written about it and podcasted about it and debated and discussed it and grieved over it for the better part of 18 months. What's not working with Roman Reigns? A lot of stuff. His heart's there. I think we can all agree on that. He wants it. I think he's working hard to get it. He can't connect. And any connection he made when he laid out Triple H, when he laid out Vince McMahon the night after and won the title from Sheamus that night on Raw, has been decimated thanks to the returning Beast incarnate. Brock ruined the whole thing. And it's not Brock's deal. It's WWE's deal. But ruined the whole thing for him. And as of the night that Brock laid him out, Roman's no longer over. And he's not right now. And it's a shame because, again, the kid's worked pretty freaking hard to get where he's at and to maintain and to get better and to improve. And it's just not working out, and it's a shame. So now he gets to take this lack of fan support and all this money they're throwing at him to promote him into a match back into the same ring with the same guy that killed his push here lately. And I hate to use the word push, but for lack of a better word, it just killed it. And now this time they've thrown Dean into the mix, and everyone's talking about who's going to betray who. There's a poll up on WWE.com right now as we speak. Who is more likely to betray the other, Roman or Dean? Jeez, man, they're setting you up for it, aren't they? They expect it to happen. Let me let you in on a little secret, and I said this in episode number 43, and hope you listened, by the way. I don't remember the last time that two guys had quite the relationship that these two guys have in WWE. They've been rock solid. They've been there for each other. They've been, strong from day one. I don't think they've ever had a moment of doubt between them, even when they were in the Shield, when they all turned face, and then afterward when Seth turned on them. I don't recall anything happening. Not even a sideways glance between maybe some little scuffle. I don't want to say scuffles, but the verbal sparring back and forth between the three of them. But I don't remember ever coming to blows. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's an odd run-in somewhere that I missed or can't recall or whatever it is. But these two guys, and the companies did a great job promoting this and pushing it and putting it in your face. As well they should, because it's their thing. They want you to believe they're best friends and stuff. And I would dare say they probably are. Just throwing a guess out there to you. But, now they want you to believe they're going to turn on each other because they are manipulating your way of thinking. Why? Because WWE is a pro wrestling company. That's what they do. All right, they want you to believe they're going to go left when they're really going to go right, and now they're trying to get you to believe that one of these two guys is going to turn on the other at Fastlane. Fastlane coming up on February 21st. There's every possibility. And is it the easy way out? You betcha. I don't think it needs to happen. And I'm going to probably get some hate mail for this. It's okay. I get a lot of hate mail. It's perfectly fine, man. But I don't think that the switch needs to happen for either one of them. If you were going to turn Roman heel, you should have done a long time ago. Okay, you should probably turn him heel on Daniel. And honestly, a Dean Ambrose heel turn wouldn't work unless you put him with Triple H, and I question if it would work then. I think Roman can baby out anyone. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm not even kidding about that. Put Roman Reigns in the ring with Bernie Madoff, and he'll baby that guy out too. I'm being serious, man. And it's nothing Roman's done, I don't think. He's cut some of the worst promos we've heard, but dude, we've heard worse from John. We heard worse from other people through the years, and very recent years in that company. It's not like he completely destroyed your life, did he? God, everyone calm down, get a hold of yourselves. I'm not saying that. I'm not even suggesting that. But Roman is best served, in my opinion, and maybe this is not feasible for WWE, but Roman is best served being taken a step back. Maybe not a full step, but maybe just a half step. If Roman Reigns does not leave WrestleMania 32 with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, I'd start that dude over. I'm not saying you got to go crazy with it and cut his hair and put him in a hula skirt and play up his Samoan heritage. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you paint him up and pair him with the Usos in 6-man tag matches. I'm not saying that either. He's come too far to regress. But I am saying maybe the time's come for that company to take a serious look at this guy and examine what's not working. Because there seems to be a lot of stuff not working. As I said before on number 43, it seems to me that WWE could just push a couple of buttons and make this thing work. And maybe I'm dead wrong about that. I mean, maybe I am. I don't know. But it seems to me that it wouldn't take a whole lot to get this guy where he needs to be. But I'll tell you this. They've worked a long time to get him over, and it's not happened yet. Okay? And if they think putting him in the ring again with Brock is going to work, if they think that putting him in the ring against Triple H at WrestleMania 32, he's going to get booed out of Dallas Stadium. Forget it. Forget it, man. Triple H is going to baby out like crazy against Roman. And I've heard all kinds of theories put forth that Roman will turn on Hunter and join Vince or something, and it's... I mean, every writer has their own theory right now, and each guy has its own separate version of how it's going to work and what they're going to do and this, that, and the other thing. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine, dude. I have no problem with that at all, okay? I'm probably going to have my own theories too. But as it stands right now, it looks like they're going to go with Roman versus Hunter at Mania, and Roman goes over for the belt. I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling. I don't have to feel it. That's perfectly fine, dude. But I'm not feeling it, and I think that they were in such a mad rush to get this guy up the ladder. It didn't have a chance to happen organically. The best thing about Daniel Bryan was that he happened organically. Roman is not. Guess who else is happening organically, by the way, as we speak? Dean Ambrose. Dean was not shoved into the title picture straight away. He was not christened unofficially the next top guy, as Roman has been. Dean is not the heir apparent to John Cena, as far as we know. Okay, I've said many, many times that Dean is the Roddy Piper of this generation. He's the Roddy Piper of this generation. He's that anti-hero that could turn heel or turn face, and you would love or hate him for whatever it is he's doing, because he's good enough to elicit that emotion out of you. He's good enough to make that happen. Roddy was so good. He was so talented. He was so smart. And he was so skilled at every single thing he did in the ring and outside the ring that you couldn't help but love or hate the guy, and sometimes both at the same time. And that's where Dean is right now. And everything that's happened with Dean, again, the company's taken its time. They've encouraged you to like him. They've encouraged you to support him. I don't recall there ever being a moment with Dean Ambrose where I'm like, God, just stop with Dean Ambrose. Jeez. But a lot of people have had that feeling with Roman. I admit there's been several times in the course of Roman's ascension, no pun intended, to the top of the WWE, that I've sat back and said, dude, stop already. I got it. He's your next guy. Jeez, let it go. You know what I mean? But, I mean, I don't know, man. I just, I think that Dean has a lot of potential to be your top heel. And I also think he has a lot of potential to be your top face. In terms of him being the top guy, I said no from the beginning. And it's nothing personal. I got a lot of love for Dean Ambrose. And if I end up being wrong, he ends up being the top guy, so be it. But you tell me this. Could Dean sell the amount of merchandise that John or even perhaps Roman could if Roman had the right situation? And I kind of smile when I say that. I don't know if there is a right situation for Roman anymore. Bad comparison. How about Daniel? Let's say that Daniel was healthy this whole time and Roman was forced to take a step back because of Daniel's popularity, and Roman's been playing, third or fourth guy down the food chain because of Daniel. Okay, let's just say that. And let's say that Dean had edged out Roman. But do you see Dean selling the amount of merch that Daniel can or did? I mean, honestly, do you see him being on the same level? Maybe I'm wrong. He ended up being bigger than Daniel. That'd be cool too. I'd buy that for $1, wouldn't you? and I like Dean a lot. But at the same time, he cuts these promos, and sometimes I'm sitting back going, oh, man, it was just to the left of being awesome. Do you know what I'm saying? He comes in and cuts the promo on Brock on Monday Night Raw, and he tells him he doesn't want to fight him. And I'm like, who in the world told you that? Who told you to say that? Did you think of that on your own? Because that's god-awful. One of your top babyfaces, the guy that you want to be a top babyface, gets into the ring with your top babyface, your top monster, and tells him, I don't want to fight you. No way. Isn't that something? That took me a step back. I don't think that helped this cause at all. And again, as with Roman, I think Dean has a lot of potential. I think Dean has more potential because he's better in the ring. And I think he's better at connecting. I think that all he has to do is look into the camera and you get a sense of, okay, this guy's having fun. You know what I mean? He's going to say something weird or something crazy, but at the end of the day, he's having fun. And this is what he wants to do with his life. This is it. I feel like Roman stumbled into the business. And maybe I'm wrong. It's the family business for that guy. So, I mean, what else was he going to do? Go be an accountant? Go run a lawn service somewhere? You know, God bless those people in his chosen profession. That's fine. But, you know, he sort of inherited where he's at. And I think that's where a lot of the hate comes from. It's silly in my opinion. I've never hated on Roman really for anything, especially not who his family is. That's got to be one of the most asinine things I've ever heard anyone say about anybody in the business. Well, he just so-and-so because his family, blah, blah, blah. Well, dude, I don't see his family up there booking his matches. Do you? I mean, I'm just saying, if you're going to blame his family, if you're going to sit back and, you know, give me that garbage about how his family this, his family that, I don't see his family booking his matches. I don't see them being the ones calling the shots behind the scenes or telling him to say something goofy in a promo or telling him to keep wearing that silly body armor that he wears all the time to the ring and all that. I don't see this family doing any of that stuff. I think that they're doing that for him. They're prepping him and making him into what they want to be. He looks great. I mean, has any of us ever thought he looks bad? I think he's great, man. If you see us, go to WWE.com on any given day, and his face is all over the website. He looks great. I mean, he just looks like a star. You know what I mean? He looks like a top guy in a pro wrestling company. If you didn't know who Roman Reigns was, and he walked into the room, you wouldn't think, well, you might think he's a football player because he was. But me being a wrestling fan, if he walked into a room, the first thing I would say is, that dude's a wrestler. Do I know him? And then I would start searching the memory bank or go Google or whatever I could and take a picture. And it's like, dude, how do I not know this guy? You know what I'm saying? He has the look. He looks great. On any given day, he looks pretty good in the ring. His promos are highly suspect at times. But, you know, the story that WWE's been trying to tell with this guy from day one is that he works hard. He's got a lot of heart, as we said before. He's trying to get his way up, but he keeps getting pushed back down. I got news for you. Roman Reigns is not the underdog. You can't be an underdog and be Roman Reigns. It's not possible. Roman comes from a wrestling family. He comes from wrestling royalty. I mean, you can't do it. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit him today. It didn't fit him yesterday. It won't fit him tomorrow, and that's it. There's just no way. It's incomprehensible to me that anyone would ever view Roman as the underdog. I mean, physically he's not the underdog at all. You know what I'm saying? And I can't. Again, I don't see that a bit. And WWE keeps trying to put him into this role. But, dude, let me ask you a question. All right, now be straight with me. 6'3", 265 pounds, with a wrestling family, and The Rock is your cousin? Brother, you are not an underdog, okay? Now, Daniel Bryan is an underdog, all right? And why is Daniel Bryan an underdog? Because he has great heart, yet he's always outnumbered. He keeps fighting to get back up. There's the fact that, yes, he's 5'10" and 210 pounds. I mean, he looks good, don't get me wrong, but, you know, I just, somebody like Rusev, I squash you like bug. You know what I mean? Put Daniel in the ring against Nikita Koloff in old school NWA, and Nikita'd squash him. I'm not saying that's good for today by today's standards. I'm not suggesting that should happen. I love Daniel Bryan. I do. I've always loved me some Daniel Bryan. I think he's one of the best that company has. And to the day he's no longer on the payroll, he's the best that company has in the ring. I'm sorry, he is. And you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone on the active roster right now that's better than he is. And I'm just being straight with you, man. That's just how it is. But Daniel's the underdog and Roman is not. And that's the story that WWE keeps trying to feed you with Roman Reigns. And I think that's one of the things people absolutely hate about him. They've taken all the grief and the frustration and the stress and the... you're bothering me with me, you're shoving it down my throat, and they're projecting that back onto Roman as if Roman had something to do with it, as if Roman is booking himself. I don't get that, man. I just don't get that. But as we said before, if you want to go organically, if you want to grow over time, make the connection to the people, the more fans see you in the main event, the more they become accustomed to it. You weren't just shoved into play at the last minute, and the fans told you, or you told the fans, oh, here's the guy because we say so. Well, guess what? Take that idea and shove it because we don't like it. And that's what most fans will tell you, and that's why they project it back on the Roman. But with Dean is something much, much different. Dean it's just happened very naturally for him. Again, and I know I've used the word a lot, but it's been a very organic process, very natural process, very natural evolution for Dean Ambrose. I think a lot of people right now could see Dean Ambrose facing Triple H at WrestleMania. How's that one sit with you? Is that crazy? I mean, can you picture Dean getting it instead of Roman? I think a lot of fans would love that idea. But how's it fitting for you? Back it down from Mania. Go back to Fastlane. Do you really see Dean Ambrose winning the match? Because he ribbed Roman in a promo. He says, hey, I ain't got to pin Brock. I only got to pin you. You know what I'm saying? So can we all agree that if Brock doesn't win the match, that means he's not even in the pinning process? That he's not getting pinned and he's not pinning anyone else? Can we all agree on that? Because, a lot of the rumor right now going around is that Brock is going to face Bray Wyatt at Mania. And dude, I am still against that. I love it for Bray. I do, because it's another step up the main event food chain for him. But what's it gotten him so far? He worked John. Where'd it get him? He worked Taker. Where'd it get him? And I love Bray. I do. Mad respect for Bray. One of the most unique characters I've ever seen, and a guy that lives it to the fullest. Not since Nikita, and I talk about Nikita again. Not since Nikita Koloff, in my opinion, has a guy lived a character. Maybe Jake Roberts has a guy lived a character to the fullest extent as has Bray Wyatt. Bray is so good. You know what I mean? You kind of forget he's Mike Rotunda's son. You kind of forget all about that because Bray just makes you forget. You know what I mean? Bray's so good at what he does, and he's so convincing, and he's so creepy and eerie and psychological in his approach, and he's so professional, and you can tell he's a student of the game. He knows who he is, he knows what he's supposed to say, and he knows when to say it. You know what I mean? He knows what facial expression to make, and he knows who to talk to and when to talk to them. He just knows. He's so smart. I guess what I'm trying to say. He knows what to do and he knows when to do it. That is the biggest test of a good talent in the business. Is he fumbling over his words? Is he trying to find the camera? Is he trying to figure out who he is? Is he trying to figure out, well, listen, my character wouldn't say this. Oh man, I shouldn't have said that. That's not Bray, Jack. It's not. Bray knows exactly who he is, and I think that's great. But I think Brock would crush him like a bug. I just don't see it. And I don't think that should happen. I think if Bray were to get crushed by Brock at Mania, that would be terrible for him. Be terrible for his character. Be terrible for any shot he ever had at getting to the main event on a full-time basis. I just don't think it's a good idea. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this whole thing will turn out and I'll eat my words. You know what? I'd be fine with eating my words at this point. I got no problem with it. And I know it's early on in the process. We still got a couple months to go before it gets here, and I understand that too. But in terms of Fastlane, I think that the main event's going to be highly entertaining. I think you're going to see Dean stand up to Brock. I think you're going to see Dean do that wild-eyed stuff at Brock. And let's just hope that Brock plays along and sells it for him, because I think Brock is very good at selling. He doesn't get enough credit. He sold like crazy for Taker. He sold like crazy for John. Hell, he sold for Big Show, man. And not so much just in the ring, but reaction. Facial expression, the way he looks at you, the way he does a double take and looks back over his shoulder at Paul, the way he looks into the camera when he can't believe that Taker kicked out again. You know what I mean? The way he sells an injury when he's stumbling around like a boxer in the ring that just took a hard left. I mean, that dude, he's very good. He doesn't get enough credit. all three guys in the ring, in my opinion. I mean, you could argue that Roman's the weaker of the three. I guess I'll bite that. You know what I mean? But I think all three guys are going to turn in a very, very good, highly entertaining match. I am looking forward to it. And again, where it goes from there, I don't know. But like we said, folks, it's early in the process. Not a lot of stuff is really happening for Mania right now, honestly. There's only been 2 matches officially booked, and here we are on the eve of another Monday Night Raw. But another match officially booked is the U.S. title rematch. Switching gears here, folks, between Kalisto and Alberto Del Rio. Okay, this is like the 4th time they've worked each other, not counting house shows, I think. I think it's number 4, something like that. But Kalisto, in my opinion, is the Rey Mysterio of his generation. And not just because he resembles him in the ring physically and all that, but again, underdog. He is fitting the underdog role, just as Daniel did, just as Rey did. And not a lot of other guys can lay claim to that, where they took the underdog stats and took it all the way to the main event, the world title. Okay, Rey's one of them. One of the very few that could ever claim that. Maybe the first that could ever claim that, yes? But Kalisto's fitting in nicely. He seems like a good guy. Seems like he's got a great attitude. Never heard anything negative about him, which is very telling, because when there's bad attitudes to be had, when there's foul things that are said, when there's laziness, when there's ego, it does not take long for that stuff to hit online. And not all that stuff's always true, but dude, where there's smoke, there's probably some fire. You know what I'm saying? And I've never heard anything negative about this guy. I think he's still connecting. I think that his theme music is lousy. I think it gets the crowd chanting, which is nice, but I still think it's terrible. Just my opinion. Need to amp that thing up and modernize it a little bit. Maybe put some rock guitar behind it. I mean, is it just me, or does rock guitar just make everything better? Don't say no, because you know I'm right. You know I'm right. You know I am. You know it. Stop it. It makes everything better, man. The opening note of Dean's song is a guitar. It's awesome. Yes, it's bad. It's metal. What are you gonna do? It's metal, man. But I like this match. I think if you can just forget the fact these guys have worked each other 4 times and probably 20 times total, whatever it is, maybe more than that, I don't know. But I think they have great chemistry in the ring. I think Del Rio's still a great heel despite what anyone wants to say about him, and I think that these 2 guys are going to tear the house down. I think Kalisto's going to continue to prove that he deserves to be where he's at. And honestly, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be a good match. The card of Fastlane so far, again, very small, not much happening right now. There's rumors of stuff going on. I think we're probably going to see, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think we'll see AJ again versus Chris Jericho. Could totally be wrong about that. I don't know. But maybe a ladder match. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? See Jericho and versus AJ Styles in a ladder match. That'd be pretty sweet, man. That's a dream match, isn't it? So we're going to be talking more about Fastlane in the next maybe 1 or 2 episodes, if we get 1 or 2 knocked out before the event gets here. And probably afterward, I'm sure we'll be talking more about the outcome of the show. But this is the more stuff part of the podcast. I want to talk a little bit about AJ. In terms of how he's being handled. I'm still hearing some criticism out there from people who feel like he's not doing enough, that he's not getting to talk enough and stuff. And remember what I said about Dean, how the thing needs to happen at its own speed, its own pace, have its own evolution. That's what AJ needs to do, because I don't care how world traveled AJ is, and how great he is in the ring, and he is, and the amount of years he has, and he does. The fact is, if you want to impress WWE fans, you got to take this thing slow. AJ shouldn't be, getting in Triple H's face tomorrow. I think it's a bad idea. Just me talking. I think they're doing the right thing, and they've put him over on 2 world champions. That needs to continue. If it's me, I'm booking AJ against Del Rio. He gets the win. I'm booking AJ against Sheamus. He gets the win. I'm booking AJ against... give me another. How about Kane? He gets the win. Any former world champion that's in that company, that'd be what I would do. And I maybe would not point this out to the 3rd or 4th guy in, and then suddenly have Cole or whoever it is on the mic say, "Guys, have you noticed that AJ's pinned 4 world champions in a row?" Then that starts the conversation. That gets everything going among fans, among guys like myself. Online that are writing about this stuff, and that gets everything rolling. Next thing you know, AJ is making enough noise in the storyline where he's like, hey, I at least need to have the Intercontinental title or at least the United States Championship. Then he goes from there. AJ Styles versus Kalisto eventually. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Am I wrong? I'm not wrong, am I? But that's me. If I'm booking AJ, I'm booking him to go over on World Champions. It's not to make anybody look bad or take anyone down a notch or give a guy something he doesn't deserve. AJ's got the time in. Who's got a problem doing the job to AJ Styles? Honestly, get over yourselves, man. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that would have a problem with it. I think that he should be going over. He should get hot and then eventually get red hot. Will he get nuclear? I don't know. There's still talk about the Bullet Club coming in. Every possibility in the world that could happen. Imagine Finn getting with them and then being a foursome and dude, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? I think that would be cool. Don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I think that WWE has options, certainly. But AJ is still a wait and see kind of booking, and I think they're doing great right now with him. I just hope they keep it up, and I hope they continue along the same path because I think that he still has a lot to offer, and he's got a lot to offer in that company because, he just got there, and he's just barely scraped the surface. What you see in the ring, if you don't know AJ Styles, stay tuned. Because what you see in the ring so far has been exciting. It's nothing compared to what you're going to see later. Speaking of Finn Balor, a little bit of news here for you. Finn has been injured. He was injured at a live event. There's still talk. This podcast being recorded before an NXT, and to stand the injury, I'm not really sure it's an ankle injury, but I heard he's not going to compete. So I don't know what's going to happen next. All the best to Finn. The last thing that brand needs is its top guy being out and everything. So, with any luck, it's not going to last very long, and we hope the X-rays come back negative and wish him a speedy recovery because Finn's one of those guys kind of like Daniel and kind of like AJ. You just want to see him do well. Put his time in. He's busted his hump all these years, and he deserves a shot at the big time, and I thank God he's finally getting it, right? So, again, all the best to him. A couple of the things I want to touch on real quick. Sasha Banks finally getting a shot at the main roster, finally getting on TV. The company having a bit of fun with fans and sort of trolling us a little bit as they've been known to do so many times in the past. But Sasha comes out on Raw and she cuts this promo like, hey, I've been sitting in the back and I've been watching, waiting for my time. Why am I not out there? And I'm like, geez, that's what we've been saying for months, right? So somebody at WWE's listening, whether it's her or the agents or the guys booking the match or whatever it is, WWE Creative. Someone's listening, right? Does that make you feel good, folks, that someone cares about what you think? Well, there you go. Pat yourselves on the back. Maybe you made it happen. We made Zach happen, right? Zack Ryder didn't. No one cared about Zach till the fans demanded he be put on TV. Then he got his shot, and then 15 minutes later, he was gone. But the fact is, he got his chance, and by God, he made the best of it. That's all I'm saying. So hopefully Sasha will get a bit more time than Zach did. Sasha's upside is tremendous. She's different. No diva looks like her. No diva has the sass, the attitude, the swagger that she has, the ego. When you can look and sound different than everybody else, then your upside has been magnified by 1,000 because automatically you stand out, okay? He was booked, and this might be an odd comparison. He was booked poorly, and he would turn out to be nothing but a sideshow act, the way that he was handled. But Boogeyman was one of a kind in WWE because no one looked like him, no one sounded like him, no one did what he did. Was he the best worker you've ever seen? Not by a long shot. And if he was, you evidently don't watch any wrestling, okay? But was he the best entertainer you've ever seen? No, I wouldn't say that either. But again, he stood out. You know what I mean? You get the chance to stand out and you're going to turn that down. I mean, dude, I would have done it too. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Well, okay, you're muscled up and you're X, Y, and Z, and guess what? You're sitting in the locker room next to 10 of the guys that are built just like you. Well, who cares about you then? You know what I mean? I'm not saying you have to be a circus clown. I'm not saying you have to be a caricature. Never said that. Not even suggesting that. What I am saying is that you have to find a way to stand out and to make people notice you and remember you long after your match is over. And I would say that he accomplished that. To me, that's what Sasha is, because the reason she sticks in people's minds are not just what she could do in the ring, not just what she could do on the mic, but the fact that no one else is doing it like she is, that she's light years better than Charlotte on the mic. Absolutely. Is she better in the ring? I would say she's better at a longer match. I don't know about Charlotte being great in a long match. I don't think she's the terrible talent that a lot of people are accusing her of being, by the way. But I just think that Sasha is just a few steps above her. Maybe more than a few, depending on how you look at it. But I like Sasha a lot. And I hope that this thing actually sticks, because I want this to work. I don't want this to be WWE dangling the carrot in front of me again. Okay, just to yank it back really, really quick as they have done in the past. So all the best to Sasha. I hope it all works out. We're going to be watching and waiting with heavy anticipation, because we expect a lot from her, because we know she can deliver. So there you go. Bret Hart, in other news, it's recently revealed he has prostate cancer. God bless him and his family. Bret he's a legend in WWE, comes from a wrestling family, and I like Bret a lot better now than I did before. I didn't like the Bret Hart that was cold and bitter and gave terrible interviews where he just ran. And it's okay that he ran down the company. I understand that part of it because of his brother, God rest Owen. And I get that stuff. I understand. But just the whole Shawn Michaels thing where he couldn't let it go, and he just... he refused to appear at the Hall of Fame if Shawn was in the audience, and all this other stuff that was being said at the time. And, I just look back on that, and then I remember when that was happening, I didn't have pleasant things to say about the guys. I'm like, dude, get over yourself. Let it go. It was a long time ago. Move on. We've all moved on. You need to move on too. When he finally decided to, and he let all that stuff go, my respect level went up through the roof for him. You can have your own opinions on the Montreal Screwjob. Entirely up to you. Totally fine, whatever you want to believe, man. Whoever you want to side with, perfectly fine, dude. But at the end of the day, you got to move on with the rest of your life. And Bret did, and good on him for that. Because, honestly, you can't live in the past, dude. You got to keep on keeping on. You know what I mean? That's like a song. Is that a song somewhere? Dude, I don't have any idea. But, oh, man, like, what else is happening in the world of WWE right now? There's a lot of rumors going on. We talked a lot about Daniel before, about Daniel possibly getting back on TV at some point. I want Daniel Bryan back in the ring. I don't necessarily need Daniel Bryan to be 100 miles an hour. I just don't. A lot of people demand he be that, and perhaps he won't be happy until he's back 100 miles an hour as he used to be. If he can even get that far back, honestly. What I want, if Daniel is ever cleared to return, I want Daniel cleared to return under the understanding that he is going to work on his style in the ring. I'm not saying he has to slow down and stop. I'm not saying he has to slow down to a snail's pace. He can still be frantic. He can still be fast. He can still do the things he wants to do in the ring. But he needs to temper all of that with mat wrestling. I think he needs to change his game. I don't think he needs to go for anything high risk. I think he needs to be careful what kind of bumps he takes. And I'm not saying that, listen, man, if you're clear to return, you're clear to return. Either you can take a bump or you can't. So I'm not saying guys have to handle him with kid gloves. I'm not suggesting that. But what I am saying here is that Daniel needs to really think about the future. If he is indeed cleared to return by WWE at some point, hopefully soon, he's got to think about his future, not just as a wrestler, but as a man, as a human, as a father in the future. He wants to be able to hold his kid and pick him up, doesn't he? So, I mean, you got to think about this stuff, and it's not disrespect, Daniel. I'm sure he already has. I'm sure he already thinks about this 24/7. Who are we to tell him how to run his life? So, I mean, I get that, but we'll see how it goes, and I would love to see the guy come back. I do want to see him back in the ring soon. By the way, if you haven't been keeping notes, he's been on Twitter lately. He looks as though he's cut his hair, and maybe I'm seeing maybe it's tied behind him, but I think his hair's been cut. So brace yourself, folks, because that's happened. And his beard's been trimmed way down. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if it means, if he's changing his look because he's coming back, or if he's changing his look just because he wants to, or if he's calling it a day. I don't have any idea. But, man, people want to see Daniel back. I'm one of them. So I hope he gets back really, really soon. The Rock coming back on Raw was a massive, big deal. Great segment with the New Day. The New Day, of course, I wrote a column here recently on them as being, and dude, we all know this, right? They're WWE's baby faces in heel clothing. If you want to check that out, you can check out my own blog. That particular item was published on February 1st. Love the New Day, always have, and I think that they're. I just love the entertainment. You know, when Big E's voice rings out over the sound system, you can't wait to see him come down the ramp, see what they're going to do next. So that's fun stuff. I enjoy their work, and I think that they need to keep doing what they're doing. Any talk of them, changing or turning or flip-flopping or whatever it is, save it, man. I don't really care about it. I mean, I enjoy what I'm seeing, and I just want them to stick with it. A lot of stuff happening in WWE right now. Other things that we've talked about in the past. A lot of things going on. Fastlane's coming up. WrestleMania is right around the corner on April 3rd. It's really not all that far away, man. Where do the other titles stand? We've covered the United States Championship. Dean is the Intercontinental Champion. New Day are Tag Team Champions, right? And Charlotte is a Divas Champion. We've covered all the champions here. We may not know where everyone is going right now, but a lot of that's going to manifest itself in the next coming weeks. We are on the road to WrestleMania. And honestly, as it pertains to Mania, let's talk about Mania for a minute. This may want to be one of the most unpredictable WrestleManias in recent memory because a lot of guys aren't there. Guys are still hurt. There's a rumor going around right now. We can talk about that right now if you want, that John Cena is in fact going to work Undertaker. There's been a crazy rumor online. Yours truly wrote about it from Bleacher Report a couple of days ago, about Braun Strowman possibly facing Taker, which I think the majority of people on this planet would agree that it's a terrible idea. God in heaven, don't let this happen, I think is the public outcry from fans all over the world. No one wants to see this guy wrestle Taker. Why is that? Because Strowman sucks? Well, maybe. But that's not really fair. He's still getting to where they want him to be, yes. Batista was pretty rough when they first put him on TV. Some would argue it's pretty rough when they took him off TV. I don't know. It's up to you, man. Whatever your stroke is, man, go ahead and do that, whatever it is. But Braun has an upside in that company's mind. He's got stuff he can do and stuff he can improve at. Taker could be great for him. He is a big man, right? So he could learn a lot from Undertaker. Don't know if it's the best idea right now, but in response to that story, there's been other stories surfaced that yes, indeedy do. It will be your boy John Cena facing Taker. No one's got anything to gain from this match, and John's going to go over. You did catch all that, didn't you? Go back and hit the 15-second button if you need to, that little spinny button if you got an iPhone. I don't know what is on Android, but go back and hit rewind. I'll say it again. You know what? I'll just say it again so I don't have to. You don't have to do that. John's going over on Taker. That's it. Dude, I'm sorry, but when's the last time... Dude, John doesn't do the favors that often. He just doesn't. And he's the top guy. He shouldn't. But what kind of statement is it for John to put Taker over? And then the next night on Raw, no Undertaker. For that matter, why did CM Punk... You get what I'm saying, right? That was different. It was the streak. I get that, but... Honestly, who would pick Taker to win this match? Okay? And I say this with all due respect to both guys involved. I got a lot of respect for both of them. It's not meant to be hateful or spiteful to anyone involved or even toward the company. But I don't see John Cena losing this match, do you? Think about that, man. We've just barely scraped the surface of what that rumor is going around right now. That story broke online. Go look it up. Have fun. Go with God reading that stuff. And we'll see what happens, man. I have no clue. But again, WrestleMania 32 is going to be one of the most interesting Manias we've seen in a long time because a lot of guys are not there. They've got some new talent there that are not ready. I mean, AJ Styles isn't ready to work Triple H. WrestleMania, he's ready to work Chris Jericho in a ladder match if they can keep it going for that long, right? I mean, there's some interesting stuff. Kevin Owens is there. He can have a great match. Hopefully, Seth's not back yet. John may or may not be back for Mania. Don't have any idea. So you've got a lot of ifs, ands, and maybes, dude. And Rock, we know, is going to be there. Don't even know if he's going to work a match. Dude, I would do anything in my power to get Rock on that card. I'm not kidding. I mean, I'd promise him a 15-minute match where he could be in and out in a hurry. But you need to get him on the marquee in a match booked. Doesn't have to be against Brock. It could be against anybody, man. You know what I mean? He's got heat with the New Day. What about him and the Usos versus the New Day? Would you have a problem with that? The Rock and the just because it's not a singles match and a headlining match? Think of what that would do for Jimmy and Jay. You know what I mean? And for New Day, you don't think that New Day doesn't deserve to be in the ring with the Rock? You don't think they've earned that? Haven't they earned that? Forget about Rock playing down, taking a step down. How about New Day taking a step up? Let's reward these guys. Dude, they show up and they say the silliest and goofiest things. They do the silliest and goofiest things. They get over like mad, like crazy mad, dude. And you know what? Apart from the money and paying them right, dude, reward these cats. Make it worth their while. Tell them thank you by putting them in the ring with The Rock at WrestleMania. I'd do it in a heartbeat. I'd book that match. That could be a headlining match. You talk about fun. That would probably be the most fun match on the card, bar none. In fact, I may even write that column. Prepare yourself, folks. Go check out the websites after you listen to this. Just keep up to date. You're going to see that column. It's going to come real soon. I promise you that. I'm all inspired now. You see what you folks do for me. You inspire me. Thank you for that. Speaking of websites, we're going to take this thing home, man. We're going to go ahead and tell you where you can find us, all right? This is episode, as we said before, number 44 of the show. If you're listening to this, don't know how you're listening to it, but let me tell you where we're at. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Android, Windows Phone, and online, tomclarksmainevent.libsyn.com. Download the show. You can also check the show out at any given time on the Boink Studios website. You can also check it out on Boink Studios on Facebook. Boink Studios is a production company owned by myself and Mr. Kyle Smith. Thank you very much. We run another podcast. It's our sister podcast here to the main event called Tom and Kyle's Comedy Action Hour, which is also available on iTunes and Google Play. Please go check it out, subscribe, and download today. We're a bit slower at that one than we are at this one, if I can be honest with you, but we're working on it, man, so stay tuned. Thanks for the great feedback we've gotten so far. We've been inundated with emails. I really appreciate the great response. You guys are the best. Thanks for the crazy number of downloads we've had so far. It's very much appreciated. But you can find Boink Studios on Facebook. You can also find us online, tomclarkbr.wix.com/boink. All the material published on that website is written by yours truly. We cover comic books, pro wrestling, TV, and a lot more. All the artwork done on that website is provided by Kyle. He's very good at what he does, by the way. Someone else that works under the Boink Studios banner here in the company his name is Philip Fender. He does all the music for this podcast and also for the Comedy Action Hour. He is available to do work for podcasts and other endeavors. If you're so inclined, please give us a contact us, I should say. You can reach me by personal email at tomclarkbr@yahoo.com. You can reach our company's email, boinkstudios@yahoo.com. You can also find all of my work on Bleacher Report as well as the highly esteemed Camel Clutch blog. You can also find my own work on my own blog at tomclarkbr.wix.com/blog. Guess what? I think we covered everything. Is that enough plugging for you or what? I had fun, man, on this episode. I hope you did too. We got a lot more to come. The next couple months are going to be exciting, man. Like I said, if you're a pro wrestling fan, there's a lot of great pro wrestling on TV right now. Lucha Underground is back. Please go check out Lucha Underground. It's very well worth your time. Ring of Honor is around right now. TNA's on TV, of course. And, Jeff Jarrett's promotion. We're going to hope that Jeff Jarrett's promotion gets a TV deal. Why? Because I want more wrestling on my TV. I don't care what anybody says about the product. They're being too much, pish-posh on that nonsense. I say enough of that crap. I love pro wrestling. I want to see as much as I possibly can. Go check out some New Japan. I'm going to get their app. I don't have it yet. Not an app. What is it? Subscribe to their website. I'd like to have it. I think I'm going to do it. I don't know enough about it yet. I've researched a little bit, but I've heard some good things from fans and from some fellow writers, so I'm probably going to end up having to check that out. It should be well worth the price of admission. Like I said, folks, if you're a wrestling fan, you should want as much wrestling on your television dial as humanly possible. So you should want as much as you can get. NXT is being one of the brands you could watch Go check out some NXT, man. And hey, support your local pro wrestling. I can't stress that enough to you. If you've got a promotion in town that stays there every weekend, or they're coming to town this weekend, go spend some of your hard-earned money and check them out, dude. Hopefully they're running a good group, they're running a good outfit, and you can go check them out and get your money's worth. Take your kids. Hopefully they run a clean show. As someone that came up in the independent scene, I can tell you right now, it's all about having fun, man. A lot of those guys you're never going to see go anywhere beyond the National Guard Armory or the Legion Halls, and some of them you might see come up like Daniel and AJ did, man. So just stay tuned on that. Hopefully they will. But a lot of it, hopefully, is fun for you to watch. And that's really the whole point of being a pro wrestling fan, is having fun. We lose our focus. I do too at times. I just want to have fun as a fan and get a kick out of it, man. I still do this day, and I hope you do as well. Hope you've enjoyed this show. I got to thank you one more time for tuning in. Thank you again, as always, for your support. This, of course, was episode number 44 of the podcast. Please come back for episode number 45. It's on the way soon. And we will see you, folks, next time on Tom Clark's Main Event.